Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon is a first-person RPG and a reimagining of Arthurian legend. The story is not a tale of noble knights and good triumphing over evil. Arthur is long dead, the weirdness is spreading, and humanity clings to survival in a land that's both mythical and nightmarish. You wake up as a prisoner on an island where people who are infected with the Red Death are taken. You make your escape, and along the way you come in contact with King Arthur's soul, who then joins you as a hitchhiker in your own body. Arthur is your companion throughout the game, who will share backstory and details of the world while also shaping all of the events that are yet to come. Alright, so admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of first-person RPGs. I skipped Oblivion, and then when I did try Skyrim, I thought the combat was pretty lackluster and it left me pretty disappointed, so Tainted Grail is something that I was a little leery to jump into, but the trailer was so good, the world looked awesome, and I wanted to try something new. So I jumped into Tainted Grail not really knowing what to expect and kind of having a sour taste in my mouth for the first-person combat. So is Tainted Grail any good, or did it leave me disappointed like Skyrim did? So first, let's jump into it and talk about the world of Avalon, and arguably this is its best feature. Avalon is a beautiful open world where you can absolutely get lost exploring. I would play for 3 hours and make no progress on the main or side quests because I was constantly finding something that would distract me. For the most part, Tainted Grail rewards exploration as it should. I was always finding a chest to dig up, a new item, a named enemy to fight, or a dungeon to explore. So just to reiterate, for an open world game, like the open world has to be the star of the show for me, and Tainted Grail does a really good job at rewarding the player for exploring. And you can't just find like a bundle of arrows or something like that. It has to be a new item, a new ability, an armor set, or an armor piece, or something like that. Something you can get excited about. While you're exploring, the world looks good too. So despite the ruins and the dark fantasy vibe going on, each area looks beautiful and there is plenty of variety to explore, whether it's a forest, a swamp, a snow area, more ruins, or the small and large towns. Tainted Grail is a pretty game. There is a day and night cycle as well. During the day, the towns come alive. You can see the NPCs walking to their store counters to buy and sell goods. There are different people walking about the town and just going about their life. At night, everyone retires to their homes, and the guards patrol the city, and even the town closes up and the doors shut at night to keep the dangers of the night out. The wilds change as weird creatures spawn, and they are aggressive, and sometimes you'll be stalked by a weird knight who can wreck you in 1 or 2 shots until you are high enough level to deal with him. This is really cool at first, and I really like when something is seemingly hunting you. But after a while, it kind of gets annoying because he just continuously spawns, and you don't want to deal with the night anymore. But besides some quests requiring them to be completed at night, I often found myself just setting a bonfire and advancing time until the next day, so I didn't have to quest in the dark anymore. But overall, I do appreciate the day and night cycle, and it's really cool to see how the wilds change when night falls. So now that we're talking about quests, let's move on to the story of Tainted Grail. Now it's told in roughly 3 acts, and each one will move you to a different area of the map. So Act 1 of the story is basically like a 9 out of 10. It establishes the story, the tone, and what is going on in the world. It's where you will see the map open up for the first time after leaving the prison isle, and King Arthur always has something new to say and some insight to give of what's going on and what he can remember from his time on Avalon. So Act 1 is pretty solid. It's polished for the most part. I only encountered a couple bugs, for example, like map objectives. They would not appear anywhere close to where they should be. But after like a quick reload, that would usually fix the problem. And in order to find side quests, you have to talk to everyone you can find because you never know who is going to give you a quest. So I like this and I didn't. So it was an organic way to add to the quest log, but it also drove me crazy because I had to remember where I went, who I spoke with already, and overall I just didn't want to miss a quest. So maybe having some kind of quest indicator on the map would help, but I can understand why they didn't go with this feature. But for me personally, it's not a deal breaker by any means, but it just kind of drove me a little crazy in trying to remember everywhere I went and who I spoke with, and I just didn't want to miss a quest basically. So that would be my only gripe in how you find the quest. So quests also present you with a choice, and they do have impact on the main story and the side quests. These choices can lead you to failing a mission, missing out on further storylines, or even have an outcome that you didn't like. So quests are more than your average fetch or kill quests as well. So let me give you an example. I am used to Warcraft or like Final Fantasy quests where you talk with NPC 1 and you go speak with NPC 2. Your job is done, you get your XP, your gold, woo, that's great and everything. But quests are a little more in Tainted Grail. So you might talk with NPC A who wants you to go kill NPC B. So when you go and confront NPC B, he tells you that NPC A really is a bad person. He killed your brother and he wants you to kill him too to silence him and so he doesn't get caught. So now you have a choice to make. Do you kill the target anyway and get your reward? Do you go back and kill NPC A for lying to you and trying to get you to do his dirty work? Or you might have an option to go tell NPC A's superior and get him in trouble and get a reward anyway. So I like the complex nature of the quest, and it really added to the story, and having some consequences really made you think about the decisions that you were making within the game. It's really well done, and I appreciate the complex storytelling in Tainted Grail. So let's talk about Act 2, and I'm not going to give any spoilers here. This is going to be very non-descriptive and just kind of give you some thoughts that I had while playing through it. So in Act 2, Arthur doesn't have too much to say here. And whoever designed the city, it's a terrible layout. Why? There's so many houses, there's so many doors to keep track of, and who I met and who I spoke with, and there's just a lot of quests that come from, say, like location 1 and a second location, but you can't access them directly. You have to go all the way around from location 1, all the way around the city to location 2. And it was just awful. It was just such a pain. Like, that was my biggest complaint about Act 2 is the city layout. Besides that, there was still some bugs to encounter. Again, reloading fixed most of them. There was a major patch that came out that fixed a bug quest that I had that I could not complete. So seeing that be fixed in real time was pretty cool. But overall, Act 2 was good, but it wasn't what Act 1 was in establishing the game. So I wanted Act 2 to kind of continue the story the same way Act 1 set us up, and it sort of did that, but not in the way that Act 1 did. And then Act 3 is where things kind of fall apart a little bit. There were more bugs more often. I had some crashes. Arthur seemingly disappears, and all throughout Act 1 and 2, you're finding lots of loot. You're finding new stuff everywhere, fun, exciting stuff, and loot just kind of drops off a little bit in Act 3. I was expecting this to be where the end game gear was, so we were going to find some powerful stuff, some really awesome looking stuff, and it just kind of wasn't there. So overall, I think the most of Act 3 was, it just felt rushed. It wasn't terrible. It was still, like, the end experience is still there, but you could just tell that there was something missing. The personality and soul that was in Act 1 is just vacant in Act 3, and it was disappointing because I wanted the game to finish strong, and it does finish because it is the full release, but it was not the ending that I was hoping for. And with the bugs and the crashes and that kind of stuff, it kind of took away from what Act 3 should have been to finish this overall awesome game. So let's talk about the combat now. This is the part I was not excited for, and I actually ended up liking it once I figured it out. So there are your standard skill trees. There are some nice options for however you want to play that fit your play style. So personally, I tried a stealth archer first to play something different. So the playstyle was fun, and taking out camps from a distance in the open world was awesome, but there was a hole in the spec where when you would advance in the story and a scene would play, or there would be a seemingly tough named like boss NPC out in the world and you didn't like two-shot them. This is where the combat got a little challenging, and I had to like sweat my ass off to kite these bosses, and seemingly the stealth aspect was taken away from the build, and that's kind of like a core aspect of the builds. So not having that aspect was a little hard for certain boss fights and stuff. So then I switched to a two-handed sword build, and this felt awesome. It was a blast to play. I was excited that I could make a build that actually worked and performed the way that I wanted it to. And there was a little more strategy when it came to combat because I was attacking, I was dodging, I was parrying attacks, all while managing my stamina, which I didn't do that with Stealth Archer. So Melee brought more to the table in terms of combat, and I really enjoyed it. Now, there is some jank to the combat. So I'd be eyeing up a shot with my bow, and it would catch on a wall that was over to the left of me, or I'd be aiming up at somebody and I'd be crouched and the arrow would catch on the rock in front of me when it shouldn't be doing that. Now, I understand this is not a sniper game by any means, so I can kind of forgive that. But also when playing melee and I'd be attacking somebody with my sword, my giant ass sword would somehow miss something right directly in front of me, or I would dodge somebody's attack and they would also kind of like magnet to me and I would still get hit anyway. So there is some jank to the combat, but it's not game breaking by any means. And I can appreciate a little jank, but overall it's something to point out. Like I said, it didn't kill the combat for me. You kind of learn to adapt to it, but overall, still pretty fun. Oh, and I can't talk about the combat without getting into the sound, because the sound just ties everything together when it comes to combat and the game. So the music is great. There is a tribal sounding song with thumping drums that kick in when combat starts, and the melee attacks sound amazing. Like when you swing a heavy ass weapon, it makes the sound of like thunder when you swing it. And the bow headshots sound almost as good as Gears of War. Almost. So when you're exploring the world and it's daytime, the music is lighter and it's almost magical and soothing. And this is contrasted by night. So the music turns dark and more atmospheric and almost hushed at the same time. It's a great balance in the sound design, and it's fantastic. I enjoyed the soundtrack. I enjoyed combat. Overall, music ties the game together. It brings you into the game more, and it's great. Music design, fantastic. So now we get to the part in the video where I tell you if I think you should buy the game now, wait for a sale, or just avoid it entirely. So I have about 40 to 50 hours into the game, and I probably could do another 10 to 20 finishing up all the side quests that I have remaining. And it's hard not to recommend a game that I have 50 hours in, and I do recommend it to you. So I think if you're a fan of, the Oblivion, the Skyrim, the first-person RPGs, then I'd say pick this up because you're going to have a good time. There's a lot of great things in Tainted Grail. Like I said, the open world is one of the best parts, as it should be in an open world game. So I think if you're a fan of first-person RPGs, pick it up now. But if you're a little on the fence and you're not the biggest fan like I was, then maybe wait for a sale. I think it's like $40 to begin with. And if you get it for even a larger discount than that, then you can't go wrong with picking this one up. You're going to have some fun with it. You're going to be enjoying the world, the story, probably the combat. So again, it depends on your preferences. If you like the Oblivions and Skyrims, definitely give this one a shot. But if not, then wait for a sale, and I think you'll have a good time. All right, so overall, Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon is a good game, in my opinion. The open world shines as it should. The story is okay, but suffers from a rushed Act 3 in both story and design. And the combat was surprisingly good. I ended up enjoying it way more than I thought I would. And overall, it's a game that I would recommend. It's fun. It's good. I really, really enjoyed it. So if you enjoyed the video, then please consider subscribing to the channel because I cover RPGs, ARPGs, MMOs, action games, all that kind of stuff. So it helps out my channel so very much. So I would appreciate any help and support that I can get. Please let me know in the comments if there is any games that you're looking forward to. If you checked out Tainted Grail, or if you want to check out Tainted Grail now, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. So until the next video or the next live stream, I stream Friday nights for Friday Night Hangout. Come talk with me. It just makes my night when you do. So that is it. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. And I will see you in the next video or live stream. So thanks again. I appreciate you. Take care.